In my projects folder, I created a folder called G01 Actions for week 8. In that folder, I downloaded and renamed 4 files that I got from Pexels. And you can use any files you want, but they should all be 1920 wide and at least 1080 high. Now I've got some that are a little bit taller than that, and I want some that are a little bit different because we're going to make these all the same size as part of our action. We're going to basically size these all down to 1280 by 720. Some will have to be cropped a little bit. So I want to look for photos where what I'm going to end up with is what's in the center of the photo. We're going to crop the top and the bottom on some of these. Okay, I'm going to open all 4 of these into Photoshop. Here are my 4 images. So I've got a train, I've got a Lamborghini, an airliner, and a cruise ship. So I kind of went with the theme of planes, trains, and automobiles. You can use whatever images you like. I'm going to start with the train one since it's a little bit bigger than 1920 by 1080. And what we're going to do is we're going to resize this down to 1280 by 720. We're going to add an adjustment layer of hue and saturation, give it a blue colorized effect. Then we're going to add another layer in which we'll apply a white border around everything, and then add some text at the bottom of the image, and we'll create a composite layer. So I'm going to do that for the first one, but I want to do this to all 4 images in the same manner. So we're going to create an action to do that. In the long run, we're going to find that our actions that we create can save us lots of time for any type of repetitive task. The first thing we're going to do is go to the Windows menu and open up our Actions panel. Now there's some default actions that are here coming out of the box from Photoshop. You can play around with those if you like. We're going to create our own action. I'm going to just fold those up and come down to the bottom here and choose to create a new folder. I'm going to name that folder with my last name and the word actions. Then I'm going to create a new action in that folder by clicking the little plus sign at the bottom of the actions panel. And I'm just going to give my initials in the word action and click record. If you use macros in Excel or Word, this is how what we're doing. We're recording all of our actions. It's going to create the steps for us that we can just simply run again. So with this image, the first thing I'm going to do is go to the image menu and choose image size. Right now my image is 1920 by 1278. I'm only going to adjust the height. Make sure that these are proportional, so that little link is turned on. And we're going to change this to 1280. Now my target's going to be 1280 by 720, but if I do 720 here, it's going to stretch it, or actually compress it, and it's going to distort things. So I don't want that. We're going to just click OK. Then we'll go to the image menu and choose canvas size. Now I want to make the height 720, and the anchor is going to be in the center. I'll click OK. That's going to crop the top and the bottom a little bit. I'm going to say proceed, and there's our new image. In the layers panel, I'm going to add a hue saturation adjustment layer. And in the adjustment panel, I'm going to choose to colorize. I'm going to bring the hue over, make it blue, bring the saturation up a little bit, maybe about 30, and the lightness up a little bit as well, maybe about plus 15. Okay, so there's my hue saturation adjustment. Now I'm going to add another layer. This layer I'm simply going to fill with black. And I just need something there that I can apply a layer style to. So let's do layer style. We're going to add a stroke. I'm going to do a white stroke of 30 pixels. My opacity is at 100%. I want the position to be inside my selection. In this case, it's the entire layer. Click OK. And then we will adjust the fill slider all the way down to 0, which knocks out the contents but keeps the layer style. Now, why didn't I do that to my original image? Because this way I can simply come in and maybe adjust things after the fact, after I ran my action. Making a separate layer makes it easier to do that. Next, we're going to take the text tool, the type tool. I'm going to come down here towards the bottom. I want center text. I want my text to be white. So you might need to change that color. Come down to the hex. You can do FF, FF, FF. I'm going to choose Arial Black 24. I'm going to click towards the bottom of my image in the center and replace the lorem ipsum text with Photoshop by and your name. And I might take the move tool and move that down a little bit closer to the bottom. Let's also add a layer style here. Let's add a drop shadow layer style in case that background is a little more white, that we can see the white text a little bit better. So again, I'm going to do black text. I want the opacity to be about 80%. I'll do distance of 5, spread of 15, size of 10. You can play around with those if you like. You can see the effect there, and I'll click OK. Then I want to create a composite layer. So the keyboard shortcut for that, make sure you're on the very top layer. Control Shift Alt letter N, letter E. On the Mac, Command Option Shift N E. The N creates the new layer. The E creates the composite of all the layers below it that are visible. And the last thing I want to do here in my action is save my file. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, or you can do Save a Copy. And I want to make this a JPEG. And I'm going to name this SFH 1280 by 720. When I run this again, it's going to give us the word copy after that, if it's already existing. So I'm just going to click Save. I'm going to accept the quality as medium. Click OK. And then I'm going to end my recording. So you can see in the recording here all the different steps we went through, and you could actually go through and modify these. Maybe if you decide, you know what, my hue adjustment to be something other than 240, I can actually come in and make modifications to that. One thing we want to do here is on this save, there's this column next to the check mark. So you can actually turn these on and off if you wanted to run this and not have it create the composite layer. You could uncheck that merge layer and merge visible, or make layer merge visible. What I'm going to do here is in the second column, I'm going to toggle the dialog on for the save so I can make changes to the name. So that's our action. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to roll that up. I'm going to go back to my history, and I'm going to go back to the original image, and let's just test this again. So now I'm going to go to Actions, find that SFH action, or yours will be named a little bit different. I'm going to run it. You can see it made the changes for us. It's come up and asked for the name. Instead of copy, in this case, I'm going to say train. And save. Don't want to place it. I'm going to say yes, because I made one earlier. Again, I can change the quality setting. And there's my image. Now, let's do it to the others. Lamborghini. Gonna run. Gonna take that word copy and make it Lamborghini. Save. Airliner. Run. Airliner, save. Do 7 quality, and then our cruise ship, same thing. Name it cruise ship. It's going to add the JPEG extension for me. Click Save. And now I have in my folder those 4 images, all 1280 by 720 with the blue tint, the white border, my text at the bottom, and saved out as a JPEG. And by putting my initials first, they're all kind of grouped together. It makes it easy if I wanted to copy and paste them someplace else. That's a little trick there that I use. That's how actions can save us a whole lot of time. Now, one more thing. I'm running Photoshop on multiple computers. I have Photoshop on my PC, Photoshop on my iMac, and Photoshop on a MacBook Pro. I want to be able to share this action amongst those 3 devices. And I'm also going to have you turn in your action as part of this assessment. So how do you do that? We have to go to the folder that contains our action. So I had you set up a separate folder first, select that folder, and then in the menu, you can choose Save Actions. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to go to my week 8 folder where those projects were in, and I'm going to save this as a ATN file. It's going to be our action file for the folder that I created. Mine was named Hustedde Actions. Put that in my project folder, and now when you turn that in, the action will be there, and I can download your action, install it, and run it, and make sure everything works. But if you're working across multiple devices, you have that action, and maybe it's an action you might not use for a while, so you just want to save it and then later reload it. So what you would do to reload it is come here and simply choose Load Actions, go find that action, and you would choose Load.